Hello race fans, it is Jake Sanderson aka Snowman Cycling, and I am back once again with another race recap video for you. And this time it's going to be a little bit different. Once again, it's a special video for a couple of reasons. This is a team time trial. I don't usually do team time trial videos, so I don't think they're particularly exciting, but this one certainly is, because not only is it the WTRL Team Time Trial World Cup World Championship of Team Time Trial Racing, but in addition to that, in my team this week, I have one of the top 10 riders in the world as I try to hold onto the wheel of Great British Esports World Championship team member Lou Bates, who got top 10 at the Esports World Championships only last week. Make sure you check that one out. I'll leave a link in the description if you haven't seen it already. What a fantastic race. So seeing as this one is going to be full of pain, suffering, blood, sweat and tears, I thought, why not give you guys an insight into how Team Time Trial works and see if we can get a top 10 at the World Cup. And the course for this one is going to be one of my favourites, Downtown Titans. So that's 25 kilometres of pain, including the Titans Grove Reverse KOM and the Watopia Reverse KOM. So the two short versions of those KOMs will be going up. And for those of you that are not familiar with team time trials, the aim is to work together as a team to set the fastest possible time for a given course. 8 of you start out on the road, and you only need 4 of you to finish. The first 4 of you to cross the line is what your finish time is given as. And usually the way that most teams race this is to have one rider on the front pulling very hard for anywhere between 30 seconds and 2 minutes. And once they're done, they rotate to the back of the group and the next rider in the rotation moves to the front to take their pull. And the idea is that there's always somebody on the front doing big power whilst the rest of the team is able to sit in the blob, recover a little bit. And that way you're able to go much faster than you would on your own with the sum of your total parts all pulling together for the fastest time. And at this point, as we hit the rollers, the pace has been pretty hot, pretty hard, pretty heavy anyway. I think everybody's already feeling it a little bit. These rollers aren't particularly easy to maintain a position at the best of times. And we've got that KOM coming up in just a minute or two. Me and Lou have been asked not to pace, not to pull before the KOM. Our job is to pace hard up the KOM for the rest of the guys. So everybody else will have done a pull by the time we get to the KOM, except me and Lou. So they'll already be suffering more than us. And in fact, team captain Mike Ellington does a hero 2-minute pull to save me and Lou from having to do work before that climb. So he goes extra deep there for the team, doing a super long pull to make sure we're recovered just before that climb starts. And pulls are usually at 4.5 to 5 watts per kilo. So doing that for 2 minutes is not an easy task. And I do TTTs each week with the Race 3R Zwift Racing Group, a fantastic race team with a bunch of exceptionally talented racers. And they're a really supportive group of guys and girls with some of the best Zwift racers around. So if you're looking for a Zwift racing team, you can't really go much better than Race 3R. I really recommend them. And this is the point where we hit the base of the KOM itself. So my hard work begins, as does Lou's. We were told to pace this at 5.5 watts per kilo for the duration, but we actually went probably a little bit too hard. I think it's the excitement of knowing it's the World Championships. You're trying to do a good job for the team, set a nice pace, and we went a little bit too hard. So I think I went at just over 6 watts per kilo for just over 2 minutes there. And in fairness, I will credit myself with a decent portion of that was trying to hold onto Lou's wheel as she just flies up that climb. You can really see why she is one of the top 10 female riders in the world. Just super impressive pacing from her. And remember that the rest of the team have already done a pull, so we're putting them probably in a little bit of unnecessary difficulty here. So we need to be careful on the next comp that we're not doing that and we're letting our teammates have a chance to recover. But that really sucked. 6 watts per kilo for just over 2 minutes. Really painful, and almost as painful as when Captain Mike announced that don't worry team, there's only 40 seconds of this climb left to go, as I could hear the muted swear words coming Mike's way from Discord. And as we come over the top of that KOM, which only 1 minute 30 but seemed to last a lifetime, we group back up together again and we bunch up on the heavier riders. So we got some really strong heavier riders. Cedric, he's our diesel engine. He usually is our strongest rider each week and takes the 2-minute pulls, letting everybody else recover. We really work him hard on the descent, as we do Dean, another really strong heavyweight rider, who also somehow managed to set a new FTP on this course, which, considering the descents, is as insane as it is impressive. So great job to both Dean and Cedric on the descents there, helping us out as we try and get a little bit of recovery after that effort there. Usually for a TTT, we try and keep the power really, really steady. That means you want, ideally, your average power to be very similar to your normalized power. But because of the nature of this course with those two really short, sharp climbs, it means you end up spiking above your FTP quite hard like we did on that KOM. And it's just quite difficult then to recover properly. So I found that my average power for this one wasn't particularly high, but my normalized power was through the roof. And that's really what you want. You want a fantastic workout from TTT. I think that TTT and racing are pretty much the opposite things for me. For racing, it's about trying to save as much energy as you can, to do as little work as possible. Save your energy for yourself for that big moment at the end to try and take the glory and the win. But TTT is kind of the opposite. I'm trying to do as much work as I can. This is my workout each week where I'm trying to push myself, get as many watts out as I can, and go as deep as I can. I find it easier to do that in a team environment. If I'm on a solo workout, I just can't push as hard. But when I'm trying to help out the team, I don't want to drop off. I don't want to tell them that I'm cooked and I can't pull. So you find a few extra watts that you couldn't if you were on your own. So it's a great workout, great fun every week, and different to the usual type of racing that I enjoy. And as we come into the tunnel now, Tim takes his pull on the front, and Tim is a super strong rider, but he uses that power to do the dirty work for the team. So if you look, he's always plugging gaps in second and third wheel in the group. It's really, really hard to hold those positions, especially after you've been pulling. So Tim is Mr. Reliable when it comes to plugging those gaps, making sure that the group stays together. It's not the most glorious of jobs, but it sure is one of the most important. He does a fantastic job of that. And I'm going to be concerned with keeping a bit of powder dry for this KOM. Me and Lou have been asked to pace the KOM again, so I won't be pulling before that. I'll let the other guys do that work, and then we'll do our bit up the climb. And before we get to that KOM, I'm just going to take a minute to say a massive thank you to old and recent subscribers and viewers. I told you on the last video that I was on a quest to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube to unlock some features I don't currently have access to, and I really need your guys' help. So if you're watching this video, if you liked it, if you've seen others, please smash that like and especially subscribe button. Help this channel out. It means an awful lot to us. So hopefully we can get to that 1,000 subscriber mark before too long. The sooner we get there, the sooner I'll shut up about it. And Mike finishes his pull as I start to come towards the front for the KOM itself. I'm going to try and pace this one a little bit steadier than we did the last one, give our teammates a little bit of recovery. They've worked hard for us. We don't want to run them into the ground here. And you might have spotted here that I'm using some other footage other than my own. I'm using Stevie Carson. I'm using my teammate Stevie Carson's Twitch footage. I spectated this one hoping to get some cinematic recordings, but in the end I just got a lot of shots that were quite far away, didn't really show what were going on. So I've cannibalized some of Stevie's footage and spliced it into my own, so thanks Stevie, with the added bonus of it looks way better than mine. Make sure you check out his Twitch channel. I'll leave the link in the description below. And as you can see here, Stevie is an expert in keeping the group together, using his masses of TTT experience to call out gaps before they open up, shout when the pace is getting too hard on the front. He's one of the few riders that is able to do that when everybody is suffering. So we rely on him quite a lot, especially in situations like these, and he's an absolute animal on the climb, as you can tell. So between him and Mike, they managed to keep us in short order. We get a little bit of a split here as we have to come around another team at the very top, but Stevie and Mike have it all under control and get us back together as one blob before very long, as we manage to get together for the descent, which will take us into the final few K run-in to the finish. And you might have spotted off the back there, we lost one rider halfway up the KOM, as Teddy has given every last watt for the team, as he always does. He's exactly the sort of rider that you want in your team. He's a massive team player, and he will squeeze every single last watt out of the legs for you when it gets tough, sacrificing himself for the team if it comes to that. And he's already done his job for today, closing gaps and sitting far up the group, making it easier for people like me on those climbs. And remember, you only need 4 riders to a finish, and we had 8, so we can afford to drop one on the KOM to get the fastest time, especially as there's only 6 kilometers left. So executive decision from Captain Mike there was the right call, and Ted has donated his legs to science and the fastest time. We paced that one a lot better as well, just over 5.1 watts per kilo for the 2 minutes, so much better pacing, letting our teammates recover there. And with only 5 kilometers left, this is the point in the race where it's about gritting your teeth, biting down on the mouthpiece, and smashing it with every last thing that you've got left. So Mike does a fantastic job. He's a really good TTT captain. I've done 113 TTTs until now, and Mike is by far the best captain I've ever had. He's so encouraging. He's always got a total handle on what's going on. He knows when to support, when to push. He's always talking to you, letting you know when the pulls are coming, and it's not easy, and especially when everyone's tired, he's there. He feels like he's in your ear, and it gives you a few extra watts that you wouldn't otherwise have. So Mike's going to rile us up, try and roar us on to the finish now, as everybody is really starting to suffer, not least of all myself. I am really, really hurting at this point. But if you want to be a world champion, you have to push through the pain, push through the suffering, and just keep going. Ride those legs like they're somebody else's. And in my case, come to the discovery that you can, in fact, get cramp after only 30 minutes of riding. Who knew? I do now, and I won't be able to forget. And if you do your best, play your cards right, and everything comes together, then there's a chance of a top 10 at the World Championships at stake. So this is really one where you cannot ease up, even as we enter the final kilometre of descent now. As I try and do a little bit of a pull before the heavier riders will naturally come past me. And remember, it's the first 4 across the line as we empty the tank and everybody sprints with every last thing that they've got left as we come storming across the finish line. I had nothing, not a single watt left, absolutely exhausted, collapsed over the handlebars. I don't know what time we got, frankly I don't care. We couldn't have gone much faster than that as I shake my head in disbelief at how hard that was. And a couple of minutes after that, I hear word on the race radio that we are currently in 5th place in the Frappe coffee class. So absolutely fantastic effort from the Race 3R Queen team there. Unfortunately, by the end of the night, we dropped down to 16th place, so just out of that top 10 out of 200 teams though, and I think that's a fantastic result. We really couldn't have gone much harder. The quality of opposition was through the roof, and even with a rider like Lou on our side, it would have been almost impossible to crack into that top 10, I think. So we've got to be happy with that performance. When we have a look at the power after the fact, I can see that my normalized power was significantly higher, 22 watts higher. My average power was only 3.9 watts per kilo, but my normalized power was 4.25 watts per kilo for the 33 minutes. So a massive difference. Those 2 KOM efforts at high pace really skew the average power there. So I hope you enjoyed that one, guys. A look at something a bit different for you than the usual one. A look at what it takes to compete in the Team Time Trial World Championships and how it feels to ride with one of the top 10 riders in the world in your team. So I hope to catch you on the next one. Remember, if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and especially subscribe. And remember, most importantly, race fast, ride hard, and that you are appreciated.